So I just checked this on a piece of glass. I actually use my desk over there, and you kind of roll it. None of these tubes are going to be perfectly straight. It's like a 2x4, right? So you have to find the bulge and then put the bulge up, well, at least in line. You don't want the bulge, you can see the line I have on here, but you don't want the bulge going on one of the sides. Keep it in the vertical axis. One of the other things to notice is one of the ends of the tubes is painted. And that one's clean. And that's gonna tell us where the butts are. So I gotta look up the technical drawings on these tubes and mark my butts. Okay, according to the technical drawings, we've got 105 millimeters and then 40 more, and then this is the thin part. So the butt is right in here, and it's the same on this side. So it really doesn't matter which way you go, but you get to make a decision with your top tube of where you cut it. You know, sometimes you cut a little off both sides. You know, we're gonna have to miter that down a little bit, hack it into length over here, and have the shorter side on the seat post and have more up front. Stiffen it up a little bit. So I have more thick tube in the front, which makes a stiffer front end. I'm gonna have it kind of front loaded anyway, so I think that makes sense. So now when I go to my drawing, so this is the edge of the tube on the short butt side. It's gonna be at least that long. And then marking the long edge over here, cut it about there. So let's double check that. We're gonna be at, let's see here. I wanna think about this a little more to kind of figure this out and just be double, triple sure that I'm getting it right. This is the actual tube, and then these are the actual lugs laid out over the actual drawing. And I've measured it and confirmed it's the right length. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to draw with a Sharpie inside that lug, and then I'm going to draw with a Sharpie inside that lug, and then I'm gonna hack them down and file them to shape. It's that simple, folks. Watch me screw it up. Oh! Hi, Greg. Hi. So I just kind of, terrible lighting, sorry about that. Just get in there with a Sharpie. And then I know that I can kind of go beyond the ink. And that'll draw your miters. You can just file them down. This one's a little bit more complicated. There's that. I marked it head tube, seat tube, so I mean it's only gonna go one way. Can't really screw it up, but well, I probably could. Got some tubing holder guys here. All right. All right, you can kind of see I'm creeping up on the line. So I don't do this that often. Guys that do it all the time can just like, without worry, just hammer these things out real quick. You know, if you're doing a lot of frames, like in a production, and then you set your milling machine up and get your angles and miter them. I've actually got a fixture coming. I might try to get my drill press set up to kind of rough these in, and then I can just touch them up with a file. But all you need is a hacksaw and a file to build a bike frame, really. If you kind of set it up where your file's somewhat level, kind of step back and take a look at it, get it level with the ground, and then just think about going straight forward. That'll give you a nice, even coat. And it helps you creep up on things. And just kind of follow your line all the way around. Take off the edges, watch things disappear. But theoretically, when you get it to this point, it should match up to that head tube in the jig pretty well. Okay, so starting to be a little lower on this side. I've got some more to take off on this side, so I'm going to favor this side. Try to keep things flat. You know, if you do this too much, then it gets all uneven. And so I'm at the line for the most part. I can work on this side a little bit. Smaller file here and knock off the edges. Let's go take a look. So one thing you can look at, and you can just see how well it matches up. Man, that's like so good. Right? And then you can check it in the frame jig too. So that's not bad, but it's also not good enough. So we'll throw it in the jig here. And there's a lot of like trial and error at this point, especially for a guy like me. And I just kind of look around and see where I need to take off material. And it's definitely on these outside lips. I need to file those back a little bit. And then it should slide right into place. Famous last words. I'm gonna push these sides out a little bit. Again, I'm trying to keep things in plane here. Okay. So that's a little better. We could pull the sides out just a smidge more, and then it looks like it's hitting in the top first and the bottom second, so I'm going to take a little off this top side too. So I'm putting at an angle here where I'm going to favor this top side, and I know the top side because I drew that line. Just give it a few swipes. You know, a very little bit makes a big difference here, so go check that. Got to take a little bit off the wings. It's kind of like pushing them down and out. That's very important. You just take a little brush and, oh, just kidding. I figured out that I can leave my tubing block on there and just throw it up in here and work with it. All right, so that's into jig. Oh, there we go. It's got a little bit of a wobble to it, but I mean, that's as tight as I've gotten it. Man, now I feel like I could take a little off the insides. Actually, maybe it is grabbing a little bit right there. You know, the lug is going to cover it all up anyway. So the seat tube miters, this one especially, is way shallower. Okay, so I got my top line. I got good over here in the head tube, and then you can see I'm hitting the seat tube. But there's a gap here, so I gotta take a bunch of material off, at least in the bottom edge. So opposite the line and maybe a little off the line. It looks like my Sharpie marks are right on, so I can go just past the Sharpie marks in this. So if I just take off like a millimeter here, not even, I think it'll slide right down into place here. We're gonna be spot on. There's just a tiny gap right here. It's just not quite resting there because it's just sticking just a little bit there. So I'm just gonna take a smidge off there and maybe off the top, just file it back a little bit, and it's gonna set right into place. That looks pretty good. It's resting in its home there. Resting in its home there. Nice and clean there. That's a good fit. I'm okay with that. All right, ready to get going on the seat tube here. So seat tubes are butted down by the bottom bracket, and then I've labeled the butted side, which is the painted side. So the butt goes to about here and then tapers off, and then it's straight through here. It's 27.4 in the inside for a 27.2 seat post. Basically, it's pretty straightforward. We are going to cope the bottom end here. So this will go into the bottom bracket. I'm just gonna stick it in there and draw with a Sharpie and then hit it with the file and get it nice and close. From there, then we're gonna have to determine the length, which we'll do with the lug. We'll get the length cut with the lug, and you can just lob it off straight. It's easier because you only have to cope one side and cut the other. So here we go. All right, I cut a little bit off of this one with a hacksaw. Thought it might save me a little elbow grease. All right, now I'm gonna file it the other way. All right, that kind of gives you an idea what things look like. Let's see here. Alright. Kind of see in there how that works. Looks like we got a little lip right there. We need to file down. Sticking up a bit too high. That looks pretty good. Yeah, if that lip sticks up anymore, the bottom bracket will bottom out on it. Okay, so back in the jig, I got the seat post where it wants to be, and I'm gonna use a dummy bottom bracket, an unlugged one. Just gonna hold that in there like that, get our line drawn on where to hack it off on the top. All right, so we have to figure out where we're gonna lob this thing off. So I'm gonna hold my lug in here like that, find the spot, mark it. That's one way to do it. Another way is we can mark the intersection here where the top of this tube hits, and then just kind of look and see inside there. You know, it looks like it's about 2 millimeters above it. So that'll get us really close too. So I made my line a little bit darker there. I'm gonna hit it with a hacksaw and take a good guess at it. So with the tube in my saw guide, you can see, so that's gonna cut it just at the top of that. So it's gonna cut it a little long, and I can always just kind of grind it down with the sander. All right, we'll check the fit here. That going there. Get that head tube out of the way, and then back in the way. Wow, I think it's right on. We're here, and here, and here. We got a little bit of wiggle room down here. Yeah, that's gonna be just fine. Wow, ha, I did something right. I got it right on the first try. It's a good fit. All right, I got the bottom bracket on, and the seat lug on, and the top head tube lug on. And everything is fitting really, really good and tight. So now we're gonna work on the down tube. Right there. Okay, I've marked my center. The tube is bent this way. I can't remember what you call that. And then I marked my butts. And I've got a long side and a short side, and I think I want to stiffen up the front end. So that's up here. I want the longest butt up here, which means I want to cut as much off down here as I can, but I don't really want that to be too short either, so it's not noodly down there. So I think I want to kind of cut off something from either end. And we know it's approximately 620 millimeters from the center of here to the center of here. And this is 670 millimeters long. So I'm going to be chopping off about 25 millimeters from either side, approximately. But I'm gonna go to the drawing and double check all that real quick. Okay, I've got the lugs and the tube kind of mocked up here on the drawing, and with these little clamps holding things in place, I am going to draw my lines and start filing. I don't think I can lose with this plan, so I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna draw the lines from this and then hack it and then file. All right, again, I just kind of hacked a big section out. Now I'm just gonna grind it off. Here we go. Looking at my fit here, and it looks like I gotta take the wings down again quite a bit, both of them equally. So the wings are the part that I wasn't able to draw with the Sharpie, so that makes a lot of sense. I kind of had to do those freehand. Get the clamp in there like that, and just go to town on the sides here. Slowly but surely. So it's a much better fit. And then we can check it with the lug. Put that on there. And you can see, lines up pretty good. Just like that. Pretty good. I'm getting good at this. I should build frames more often. So now on the bottom bracket side, second verse, same as the first. I'm gonna try to hack out some material first. Seems to go a lot quicker, and if I can get the saw started. More filing. All right, got started on the side cut here. Keep working on that. That looks pretty good. Maybe take a little off this edge right there. All right, of course you can't see any of this, but you'll have to trust me. It's pretty good. Okay, back here in the jig. Got the bottom bracket in there, and I'm letting the C-tubes just going straight down through, so the joints are kind of coped together down there. They'll kind of hold this, give me an idea of, you know, just so it doesn't slide all the way down to this post. So I'm gonna lock the bottom bracket into place here. Get that tube in there. And we're gonna set these brackets, which I think I'm gonna move this one. This one seems to be pretty ready to go. Get that one locked down. Go to this hole with it. Well, it's a bit short, but I think that'll be okay. I think it's gonna be fine. Whoa. Oh, this is way out of whack over here. That ain't right. Okay, never mind. That's not right. You may have seen that. I'm just noticing it. We're gonna move that down, and that's gonna change the length, and I think it's gonna be perfect. Let's do this. How are we gonna do it? We need to move these guys. That's why this was in perfect position just about, is because I didn't adjust it. Move this guy down one. See if we can keep this one there though. I like it down here more than up here. Okay, gotta slide that down. So it seems that the angle is a little different than what the lug wants. We're gonna have to bend that tang a little bit. So you see there, we're gonna kind of have to shape that one a little bit. All in all, I'm gonna clean those lugs up. I'm getting close to brazing time. I'm not gonna do too much to these lugs. I don't see any sense in reinventing the wheels. Reinventing the wheel. It's just one wheel that you reinvent. You don't need to reinvent all of them. How cool is that? Okay, those are our lugs, and we're gonna grind these numbers off and get all this scale off, get it down to bare metal, clean out the insides. You just gotta clean them all up. Do that with a couple of different tools here, you know, this sort of thing. It's loud, it's tedious, it's boring, but it's necessary. So here we go. It's a good job for Woody Charleston here.